We're recording in the daytime and everything looks weird. Hi, hello everyone. My name is Jer and I just farted. We are almost at the end of this Slaysian Royale journey. For the last 8 weeks, we have gotten to see some incredible talent, beautiful artistry, amazing runways, and humor like literally nowhere else. It's been a truly incredible ride this whole season, even though I've had some criticisms here and there. This episode, our Slaysian finalists are tasked with recording and performing lines for a brand new music video for the all-drag Filipina supergroup Arena. But first, they need to sit down with Khalid Karen and Mama Pao for a little snackage and conversation. Seeing a beautiful and glamorous woman like Khalid Karen be sitting in this absolute banger of an outfit and hair and just scarfing food is kind of a religious experience. It reminds me that even the most beautiful of people chow down. And afterwards, they have a short photo shoot in black and white with no glitter, no wigs, no costumes, just them. And the winner of this mini challenge, who turns out to be Venus, gets to steal 2 whole minutes of recording time from a competitor. Yo. That is a massive disadvantage in a challenge like this that is so close to the finale. And this could have absolutely harmed specifically Suki had she gotten that disadvantage. So I'm kind of happy on some level that Venus chose to give that disadvantage to Arizona, who really was not fazed by it all. This has been Ari's narrative all season, starting with that very first sabotage from Kiana. She just rolls with the punches and performs at a top level no matter what comes her way. And I love to see it. At the start of the episode, the girls had some mixed opinions on who they thought was going to make it this far in the competition. Some of them didn't even think that they themselves would have been here. I won't lie, this is the top 4 I had imagined. I fully came into this season as a Brigading stan, so I knew she was gonna make it to the end, or at least I deluded myself to believing so. I thought that Venus could have made it, and of all the international girls that were here, Suki seemed like she had the best opportunity to make it to the end. The only one I wasn't sure about that was always in flux for me was, will it be Kiana or will it be Arizona? But it seemed to be one of the 2 of them from week 1. I'm curious if y'all thought this would be the end result before we got here. This episode's edit was very favorable to Brigading, giving her a major spotlight during the table talk, highlighting her personal journey as she's tried to discover herself over the years since her season, whereas Suki got a more emotional edit, talking about her background, where she's come from, her family, and what it all means to her to be here. And Arizona and Venus kind of got superficial conversational edits. This being an edited show, I could see the writing on the walls that they were setting up Brigading to be the winner of this challenge, and that they were setting up something heartfelt to happen to Suki. In the challenge, Arizona and Brigading were the utmost prepared, ready for any eventuality and always ready to do so. Suki is absolutely feeling the physical burnout and was in her head for a lot of the recording process. And Venus, even if she never said it, seems to be suffering from the mental burnout of this type of competition. Both of them were distracted in very different ways and didn't quite deliver to the same level that Briggs and Ari did. I definitely could see the story that was developing purely on a stamina level. The challenge was pretty straightforward, but I really enjoyed how much time each queen got in the spotlight. Drag Race US, take a freaking note here. This is how you do a finale music video, not these like 10-second 2-line verses. It really felt like a special semi-finale moment for each one of them. Suki kicks off the song, which I think she set up the tone well enough. I enjoyed her flexing her multicultural life experiences, but I don't think that she connected with the camera that well, and that was likely due to her physical exhaustion. On the runway, Suki is presenting the award of the loved one. I liked the style lines of this look, but I didn't quite like the scale of it. I think there were just one too many concepts that maybe needed to be pared down to make it cleaner. Just a small editing tweak. My preference is always clean looks, and this just leaves my eyes wandering a little bit, wanting to stop somewhere but not really being able to. I love her in gold though, and I think this was great for a semi-final look for everything we've seen in Suki's package so far. Arizona is second in the music video. I loved her rhythm. She perfectly understood the beats, she was always on time, blending fierceness and humor in an interesting way, and her look was probably my favorite. She looked the most like she belonged in a supergroup. Everything about that look was perfection to me. And on the runway, Arizona is presenting the Spark of Joy award. I liked her hair the most on this look and those little pops of orange. It's overall a fairly simple silver dress, but effective and nonetheless. It read as award show, and I liked the twist on the shoulders. That was something new that I haven't seen in a design of this style. Brigading is third in the music video. I didn't love her look that much. It was more ice skater to me than it was girl group performance. And I think that had a lot to do with the mesh. But I love her in gold. And that mug was muggy. I loved her lyrics. I loved her incorporating that she's the brightest star. That is such classic Brigading energy and lyric writing that I'm always looking for it wherever she goes. And I think she had the most powerful connection with the camera. In my opinion, she ate. And on the runway, she is presenting what she later explains as the Sparkling Mother Award, which this award is a testament to herself for believing in the spark inside her heart that she's always been looking for. This bleeds into her story that she's been talking about all season, that after Philippines won, she really lost who she was, and that had a lot to do with being built up as a performer all the way up until going on Drag Race, and then fading into the background. So from what we've gathered, she was like, why was I gassed up to believe that I was great when I wasn't? So instead of letting that break her and destroy her, she kept looking for herself and trying to find that star that was deep down. And I'm glad that she's found it. I hope that she never goes back and always realizes the potential she has. I was rooting for her hard when we reviewed season 1 for my weekly podcast. Having not seen it at all, I was a Brigading stan through and through. And this season has just bolstered how much I love this girl. I love her in Tiffany blue on the runway. I think this is such a spectacular color on her. The hair was impeccable. However, I didn't love the fit of the bust, I can't lie about that. It was a tad bit loose and I wanted it to be yanked just a little bit in. Because from my perspective, it was kind of floppy looking. And this is just a general critique. The illusion of femininity is breasts, waist, hips. And I think what happens a lot with drag queens in particular is because they don't have natural breasts, they're not necessarily thinking about the shape of breast lines, because that's not something that they have to think about, not unless they're very frequently wearing breastplates. And even then, not every drag queen is thinking too much about the lines of the breasts, where they're sitting. And so when they create these garments that are kind of looser fit on the bust, it sort of just emphasizes that there is a flat chest there, that there are not actually breasts. This is becoming an epidemic, and I really hope that as we move forward, drag queens can realize that if they're not gonna do a breastplate or do crazy breast illusion, they can just do a flat bodice. They don't have to create all of this volume in the front because it's not there for anything. Whereas someone who does have breasts would have lines that are showing. That breast line would be lower so that you could see the girls pop. It wouldn't matter that it was loose fitting because it covered up the parts that were meant to be covered. Anyway, moving on. Venus wraps up the music video, sounding astounding. She had my favorite line of the entire night. I'm doing this for my family. Mom and Dad, don't you worry, your future is secured with me. Ugh, that's so special to me because it shows a connection with her family that a lot of drag queens just don't have. I'll say I think her look was maybe my least favorite. I wish that she was in all gold so that she harmonized more with Brigading's look, because Suki and Arizona were both in blacks. And I really love in girl groups when the costuming is sort of synonymous with each other. In any case, she sounded incredible. I love her syncopation. I love her vocals. Venus just does the thing. That being said, I don't think her dance was particularly compelling, but she did connect with the camera in a stronger way than Suki did. And on the runway, she is presenting the National Mouth Trophy. Trophy, not award. Which is super appropriate because she gives good mouth. This dress! She shut the show down. And she shut it down so many times already this season. This was no exception. The lush, immaculate rouging of that pink fabric with those small, intricate pops of the ostrich feather lining all the way down. Oh, and then that rhinestoned mouth. Are you kidding me? That lifted hair was perfection. She genuinely looked like she was going to present at an award show, and she made it drag and she made it camp. This was themed campy couture at its finest. And personally, I think I transcended to another plane of existence. This made me believe that there is something out there in the universe spiritually. God is a woman. It really was the moment. What I thought though was most hilarious was the fact that her award was absolutely a sex toy. And I love that Nymphia clocked it because as soon as I saw it, I was like, That's insane. Pal then asked the queens who should win, and while I don't think I heard anything I've never heard before, Brigading's speech did make me a little emotional. It was super heartfelt, and I feel the crown for her. I would be shocked if anyone swoops in and snags it from her. She is so locked in and competition focused right now, whereas I think the others are pretty locked in, but she is fully there. In Untucked, I'm glad they gave some flowers to the eliminated queens, giving them their own awards, because it was a sweet moment and it made me sad thinking that we're probably not going to get to see any of those other contestants before the credits roll next week. They didn't show them in teasers. Maybe they'll show up for a finale runway, but as of right now, I don't know if we're gonna see them. Yuhua winning Ugliest Wig took me the hell out. I know one person in particular who probably stood up and cheered the moment they said that. Brigading is then called as the winner of this week. I'm so happy about that. Big congratulations to her, ending the season with 3 badges, absolutely locking her in as the front runner. In the top of the episode, Suki mentioned that her scorecard shows Brigading as the top player. And with this win, that only solidified her in that placement. She and Arizona are called as the definitive finalists, moving on to next week, leaving Suki and Venus to lip sync for the final placement. They received the song Power, which is a moving ballad about being a strong, powerful woman. And both Suki and Venus turned it in different ways, I think. They equally impressed me with their interpretations of the lyrics and how they chose to perform the number. But more than anything, I was impressed with Suki because she actually knew the lyrics. The bulk of them. There were a few parts where she was mush-mouthing, but I think the parts where she knew the lyrics outweighed the part where she didn't, unlike in Goddess. And with Venus now in 2 bottom placements, this being her 3rd low placement, I think it puts her at strategically the least likely to end up winning the crown, which bums me out because I like Venus. Anything can happen on Drag Race, but I just don't see it for her. She is, however, called as the first one to go to the finale. And then, to no surprise or shock to myself, Suki is then called as the 4th finalist because they want to see more from her. I mentioned last week in my video and my poll that I believed this top 4 to be our finalists and asked everyone who they wanted to win of this group. It's out of the norm for an All-Stars to bring it to a top 3, 1, and 2, it's out of the Philippines norm to bring it to a top 3. Where I'm sitting right now, I'm currently seeing Arizona and Brigading as the finalists lip-syncing for the crown, with probably Brigading winning it depending on the song they give them. But with next week being a talent show and seemingly no Lollapalooza, it could go any kind of way. I will say ahead of time, I don't particularly care for talent show finales. I would much rather see those in episode 1 so that we can see what everyone has done with upgrading their drag and their personal branding. I would have loved to have seen what Siam could have done to redeem herself from her god-awful, shitty talent show number. I don't even know if I can call it a talent show number thing that she did in Thailand 3, because that was a travesty. But nonetheless, I'm excited to see what everyone's going to do. What did you think of this episode, and who are you rooting for to win the whole thing next week? Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see y'all on the flip.